Good afternoon and welcome to Lunchtime Series, where we chat about everything leadership, coaching, and marketing in aim of adding value to people's lives, happening every Wednesday and Thursday on ebuzzradio.com. You can catch the Lunchtime Series on all major podcast channels. And to help us grow the channel, guys, please follow, like, and share with everyone. Because in today's marketing and leadership segment, we have our marketing and communications expert and co-host, Craig Page-Lee. How you doing, Craig?
Kevin, I'm great, thanks. Yeah, so time whizzing by as we head to the end of the year. But yeah, looking forward to again sharing some of the great insights that we've come across on the show for today.
Okay, yeah, I mean, like as you say, it's whizzing by. Like I was saying earlier, that I think time is just a construct of the human brain, which we know it is. We just, because it really does feel like we see each other almost every day.
I know,
but we don't. So it's weird. Correct. So, I mean, as per usual, can you please start off today with giving us some takeaway points from our conversation that we had last week on our influencer marketing?
Yeah, absolutely, Kevin. Yeah, the key takeaway points are from the article that was titled "Influencer Marketing Strategy and Checklist Template," and these were published on bloghubspot.com. The article lists 9 steps to help marketers develop an effective influencer marketing strategy. So step 1 is define your goals. Your goals will guide your strategy and define the strategy's metrics for success. And for instance, it's, are you trying to increase brand awareness, or are you trying to drive further brand engagement? Step 2 is identify and define your audience. So proper segmentation and identifying of audiences can determine the effectiveness of the success of an influencer campaign. Step 3 is define your budget. Defining budgets is important as it guides your content creation and your distribution options. Step 4 is to choose a type of campaign, whether it's guest posting, sponsored content, retargeting, co-creation, competitions, mentions on social media, even discount codes, etc. All of these are actually examples of influencer marketing campaigns. Step 5 is decide on the social media platform you want to use, with a clear understanding that platforms are based on target market and kind of content that's been promoted. Step 6 is create content for your campaign. So once the campaign type and medium has been selected, it's time to create compelling content, and taking into account that consumers lose interest if messages or content isn't captivating. Step 7 is find your brand influencers. Important here is that you find the right influencer, and that influencer understands and connects with your consumers and your audience, your brand, and the content you're promoting. Step 8 is promote your campaign. So once you've successfully identified your target market, found your ideal influencer, and created that compelling content, Kevin, it's important to promote that new partnership. And the last step here is track your success. It's critical to track performance of your partnership through the likes of website traffic, engagement, conversions, or other metrics that you actually decided up front when determining your marketing goals. And yeah, those are the key takeaway points from last week's conversation.
Fantastic. Thanks for that, Craig. Guys, if you want to go and check that out, go and check it out on the Lunchtime Series on YouTube and all your major podcast channels. You can check out influencer marketing on the channel. But Craig, what are we going to be chatting about today?
Yeah, Kevin, I want to pick up on an important topic, and that's preparing leaders for 2023, something that many leaders are busy with right now as they come out of their strategic planning and budgeting periods, and then just touching on what some of the trends are that will actually impact on organizations moving into 2023, Kevin.
Yeah.
So to start off with, I want to touch on an article that really sets the context as to why leaders need to prepare ahead, Kevin. And the article is titled "Preparation for Effective Leadership Begins with 5 Simple Rules." The article was written by Glenn Lopez and was published on Forbes.com. And it opens with the following interesting statement: preparation can never guarantee success, but the lack of preparation can certainly increase your propensity toward failure. And luck is what happens when preparation meets opportunity. And I quite enjoy that last statement there. But as we know, Kevin, a leader's responsibility is to help the organization the people they serve, and to help them to grow and prosper whilst ensuring that there's momentum to keep the organization at the forefront and competitors at bay. And preparation is obviously key to achieving this. And that said, when leaders do fail, though, it's more likely attributable to their lack of preparation, Kevin. And a paragraph that really stood out for me in the article reads as follows. Preparation demands accountability and is an individual responsibility with so many interdependent factors. Every leader sees through a different lens. Therefore, they should know the short and long-term preparation demands are for the employees and business to be successful. But if a leader falls short in the ability to prepare rightly with proper timing and depth, the negative implications on the business will become quickly apparent. And then in concluding on the article, it goes on to list 5 simple truths that leaders should consider in preparing to become more effective leaders as they move into 2023. And the first here is never stop being accountable. The second simple truth is pause and pay attention to your employees. The third truth is improve your approach to problem solving. The fourth is listen carefully. And the fifth is allow failure to guide you rightly. So simple as their truths may sound, Kevin, they really are integral to helping leaders build and prepare their respective businesses and their people for a successful future. But what's really, really intriguing for me is the fact that this article was actually written in September 2014, Kevin, yet the key themes and messages delivered are as relevant today as ever before.
So, Greg, I've been, I work at, Manco Exco level currently, and what I'm still astounded by is that very first point: never stop taking accountability. And we go through a process depending on what the situation in the culture is of the business. We take them through a bunch of training and coaching and assessments. Just to see, who these people are, what are they understanding about of themselves as humans, as leaders, and still today you find that it becomes a blind spot, that people don't see that they're not actually, as the leader, they don't take enough accountability in that space, based on the fact that I have a title, or because in front of my name says HOD, or I'm the executive of this organization, and it must be, my people are not doing enough, my people are not performing, my people are not, and part of the wonderful journey that I have to get to go with people on is to kind of go, no, actually, I'll be the mirror, and I'll show you that it's only because of you that things are not working, right? Because it's almost like the identification of accountability sits with people that work for me. And so the identification of accountability is a disassociated frame that leaders find themselves in. It's quite fascinating to see that they don't know that the reason why things are not working is because you're doing it badly as the leader. It's not because your staff are bad. It's not because it's like, where's the accountability? So I love that. And the other one is pause and pay attention to your employees. There are moments where you kind of, because I get quite involved and I get to see them in real time and real life. And, half the time people are falling to pieces, and the governing members of this organization sit up there and they go, but we don't understand why. What is happening? And it's like they have blinkers on, and like you say, this was written in 2014, but yet so relevant and so current, where people are, I don't know what it is. I don't know if they have been caught up in the minutiae and the pressures of the economy of South Africa and the pressures that come with that, and hybrid learning or hybrid working. There is something that is that is really causing people to not really pay attention to actually what is happening. And
To that point though, Kevin, that excuse is only valid for a certain period of time coming out of the likes of the COVID pandemic. But pre-COVID was, what, 16 years pre-COVID, at least 6 years, I should say, sorry, pre-COVID, where, businesses should have got a bit of course correction and leadership capability right, somewhat right at least, So really there is a finite point where we have to start moving away from blaming COVID for much of the weakness in our ability to lead and manage and be great mentors and coaches.
But also, Craig, from a leadership perspective, if there has to be a certain emotional intelligence that comes with the fact that if I am experiencing a problem, I am part of the problem.
Yeah.
And what am I bringing to this problem?
Yeah.
If you're not, as the leader, recognizing that you're part of the problem, that's why the problem exists, then you're never going to actually see the problem.
Yep, correct.
So it comes back to, are you accountable for what it is you're bringing to this problem?
Correct.
And until you don't get that, you're not going to see a problem. You're just going to say, these people are incompetent.
Yeah.
So I mean, with those simple truths, Craig, I mean, they are quite profound, and I can get really carried away with
it's wonderful.
But I mean, what are some of the business trends to look out for in 2023? Because I think now is the time where people are actually starting to look at that and kind of going, what do we need to be aware of? What should we be doing? What should we be paying attention to? Because
absolutely, Kevin,
it's happening at such a pace.
It's real. It's leaders and businesses should be immersing themselves in this realm of thinking a while ago already. Yeah, but as expected, there are multiple and numerous articles on this topic. But the one that really stood out for me, Kevin, was written by Bernard Marr. It was published on Forbes.com as recently as 3rd of October this year. The article is titled "The 5 Biggest Business Trends in 2023 Everyone Must Get Ready For Now." And just to set some context on Bernard Marr, Bernard is an international best-selling author, popular keynote speaker, futurist, and a strategic business and technology advisor to governments and companies. So the content does come with a high level of credibility, and I often come across these articles and really enjoy the read. So the article opens with the following statement, Kevin. Businesses have faced huge challenges and have undergone an incredible amount of change over the past few years, and this won't slow down in 2023. Businesses will have to deal with the after effects of the global pandemic, Russia's invasion of Ukraine, economic challenges, as well as ever faster development of technologies. So let's look at the 5 trends that Bernard believes will have the greatest day-to-day impact on the way we work and do business in 2023, Kevin. So the first trend here is about accelerated digital transformation. So in 2023 states that we see the continuation of innovation and development in transformative technologies such as artificial intelligence, Internet of Things, virtual and augmented reality, cloud computing, blockchain, and superfast network protocols like 3G. These transformational digital technologies do not exist in isolation from each other, though, and we're definitely starting to see the boundaries between them blurring, Kevin. And new solutions for augmented working, hybrid and remote working, business decision-making, and automation of manual, routine, and creative workloads combine these technologies in a way that enable them to actually enhance each other. So the second trend that he picks up on is inflation and supply chain security. So the economic outlook for most of the world really doesn't look great for 2023, as we know, with ongoing inflation and many subdued economies around the world. Many industries, however, are still plagued by the supply chain issues that came about during the global shutdown on the back of COVID, and only got worse over the period of time, specifically during the war, the impact of the war in Ukraine as well. And to combat this and stay afloat, companies really need to improve their resilience in any way that they can, Kevin. This means whether reducing exposure to volatile market pricing of commodities or building protective measures into supply chains to deal with shortages and the rapidly rising logistics costs. The third point that he brings to the table here is that the world is realizing that climate disaster will pose a bigger challenge than anything we've experienced in recent decades, and will in essence dwarf the challenges faced by the COVID pandemic. And that's an absolute reality. This means that investors and consumers investors and consumers prefer businesses with the right environmental and social credentials, and buying trends are increasingly being driven by conscious consumers, which we know are individuals that are prioritizing factors such as ecological impact and sustainability when actually choosing who to buy from or who to do business with. A key point that Bernard Maher makes here, Kevin, is that in 2023, companies need to make sure that their environmental, social, and governance, the ESG processes, are moved to the center of their strategy, starting with measuring the impact any business is having on society and the environment, and then moving to increasing transparency, the reporting and accountability factors. The fourth point here is immersive customer experience, is one that I like. So 2023 will see customers expecting an increase in immersive brand experience. It's important to note that price and quality both play a role in the way that we experience the process of choosing, purchasing, and enjoying products we spend our money on. And the role that technology plays here traditionally has been to streamline processes and remove hassles from the lives of the consumer. This is really cool, recommendation engines that help us choose what to buy, or online customer service portals that deal with problems and after sales support will still play a key role in 2023. But the game has evolved with the key words being immersion and interactivity. So really getting up close and personal with brands and consumers. And then obviously the metaverse will allow consumers to interact with brands through much more richer, immersive technology, including 3D environments and, as I mentioned earlier, virtual reality. And the fifth and final business trend that Bernard Maher lists here, Kevin, is that of talent challenge. So yeah, we've touched on this point in previous shows where we've noted that large numbers of talented people are leaving their respective organizations they work for, this being referred to either as the Great Resignation or quiet quitting, all due to factors that workers have reassessed the impact of work and what they actually want to get out of their lives, particularly coming out of the COVID pandemic. This has inevitably put huge pressure on employers, I should say, to ensure that they're providing attractive careers, flexibility of hybrid work, an enticing work environment, and the right company culture. Organizations need to offer people fulfilling work, ongoing opportunities to grow and learn, and some flexibility in diverse, value-oriented workplaces. And a key point to note here, Kevin, is that digital transformation, as the first business trend we listed here, will lead to more workplace automation, which will then augment just about every single job in the world. Humans will increasingly share their work with intelligent machines and smart robots, and this has huge implications for the skills and talent companies require for the future. This means a lot of reskilling and upskilling people across all layers of the organization, as well as recruiting new people that actually have skills that are needed for the future of work, Kevin. And yeah, 5 important business trends that are covered in much more detail in the article, most definitely worth a read for our listeners.
Craig, I find it so interesting, especially with the talent challenge, right? Because as a micro enterprise business, I have already adapted in the last 6 months, looking at what has been sort of trending, listening to some of the conversations we've had, and constantly being on the forefront of. So what is it that people need, and what is it that people are, or what is that topic that pain point that keeps raising its head?
Yes.
And as a micro enterprise, I've already changed and literally sort of diversified the offering of what I'm capable of doing for my business. So, I think just listening to, the talent challenge is real. It's not it's a real thing that's happening. We can look at, the business called Business Insider Network, I think, from South Africa. There's a number of, on a number of occasions this year, showing how many brain drains we're actually having out of the country. And it's I think the last one that I think is really important to note, and that people are really needing to pay attention to, is the sustainability efforts that we need for the environment. Because and I still think, people kind of go, no, governments will take care of it, governments will do something about it. But it's like, do I even have an awareness? Do I in my conversation that I'm having with my friends at a braai, does the climate change conversation come up? Because I think it's that important that it needs to be a topic of conversation you have that often.
Yeah.
That needs to be built in our day-to-day lives, because it's really a problem.
And every single one of us do have a responsibility to change the way we behave and act and make a difference. And it's much more difficult for the folk who really don't have the means and capacity to live a comfortable, normal life, who are really on the lowest level of Maslow's hierarchy of needs. The access to warm water, clean running water, fire to cook on, and things like that. All of those particular aspects really impact on their lives in the most negative, profoundly negative ways. And we all need to be stepping in to make a difference that can actually help them down the line as well.
Craig, and I mean, because I keep myself busy with wanting to learn about Business South Africa and, what's happening, what's new, and what's even the topic of the BEE situation that we find ourselves in South Africa. I've on a number of occasions now on TikTok have seen people speaking up against it, because it's keeping investors away from South Africa. Right, but simply because we have this BEE law that's proved to try and serve and create some kind of equality. And what we've learned is that it's only really helping a few people in this country. So like there's quite a lot of conversation that I think that needs to start happening, around shifting the needle, like climate change, like is BEE actually, is it beneficial to any? Because currently there's only a top 5% people in this country that really benefits from BEE.
Yep. Very good point.
Benefits, like the climate affects everybody, but nobody actually speaks about it. And the people that can make a difference are the people in that 5%. So it's conversations that need to start happening, and I think it's worth mentioning more often, as much as we can.
And rapidly need to dive into these conversations, because we don't have much time left. We have that pinnacle point where every half a degree of global temperature rises is really reducing the existence opportunity for the planet. It's frightening.
But I mean, Craig, so we've touched on the topic of diversity, equity, and inclusion several times across the different conversations. Where do you see the DEI fit into leadership priorities for 2023?
Yeah, great question, Kevin. And yes, the diversity, equity, and inclusion definitely has a huge role for business in 2023. And great article titled "What are your leadership priorities for 2023?" as published on leadersedgeinc.com on 11th of October this year, and it addresses this particular point in detail. But just to pick up on the broader context of the article notes that the role of leaders is no longer about getting others to follow them into the future. Instead, it's about bringing diverse teams together to collaborate and co-create the future together. And it also lists the following predictions for businesses going into 2023. So less hierarchy equals more engagement. The role of the leader will be less about making decisions and calling the shots, and more about having the skills to foster that inclusive decision making, offering autonomy and bottom-up innovation and collaboration. The second point is focused on soft skills. High-performing organizations hire top talent, and they also invest in both hard and soft skills required to deliver that exceptional performance in today's new world of work. The hybrid and remote work model maturity is the third point, where the pandemic and the newness in pivoting to remote and hybrid work models is still very much in early stages of development for some companies, and this will continue to be a priority into the year ahead. And the last point here is really valuing diversity, equity, and inclusion, Kevin, with DEI continuing to be a top priority moving into 2023, and obviously for many more years to come, as globally little progress has actually been made in this area. Many organizations have developed their policies and practices that are designed to ensure that they are valuing and building these diverse workforces made up of different race, ethnicity, gender, sexual orientation, age, and socioeconomic backgrounds. And they're also working to ensure that they are being equitable by designing processes and programs that are impartial, fair, and provide equal opportunity for all. Being inclusive is a practice of making people feel heard and seen, reinforcing a sense of belonging at work, and in combination with valuing the differences in thinking and approaches, Kevin. So the article makes a really important point by noting that organizations can have the best written policies and procedures in place, but if the leaders do not value DEI, there will be limited progress in creating this type of culture within those organizations.
Okay. If I'm going to be so busy next year if this is part of what everybody starts doing, because the unconscious bias and inclusivity program that we run is, speaks to exactly. It's almost like you've just read out of the actual manual, because essentially, if the leaders don't. To the degree that if DEI isn't part of your value structure and it isn't part of what it is embedded as part of your culture, you simply won't value it. You simply don't value DEI and the diversity, equity, inclusion. It needs to be a pillar that you build your business on. Yes. And one of the pillars, if it's not there, I look at some companies referring to themselves as world class, or leading the future of organizations in South Africa, and then you look at their diversity, equity, inclusion, and you're kind of going, there is no world class happening whatsoever. What are you talking about, world class? Right? Come on, guys. So I'm so glad that this is part of what the future looks like, because I think it's. And to the point where, the first point you talk about what leadership is today, is leading, cultural diversity and co-creating what the future looks like. That is the future, whether you want to, admit it or not. There's so much. I mean, I think it's PwC they've got amazing brand videos that speak to diversity, equity, and inclusion, and how biases can be mitigated to make differences to your environment, but also having the cognizant awareness of your biases and how that influences your decision-making processes.
Yes,
so
absolutely.
It's amazing what diversity, equity, and inclusion can actually do for a company when you really investigate the abilities or the outcome of what it can sort of do to your ROI. Craig, so as we close the show, what can we share with the listeners as the key takeaways from today's conversation?
Yeah, Kevin, so for the takeaway points today, I want to reference the article I came across on capacitybuilding.com. It was published as recently as the 4th of November this year, written by Ed Robinson. The article is titled 10 Things Business Leaders Need to Do in 2023. And again, just to set some context here, Ed Robinson is president and founder of Capacity Building Solutions, the consulting firm he started in June 2002, focusing on business management and organizational development needs for small to medium-sized businesses and community-based nonprofits. And its professional goal is to make the world a better place by helping leaders become better versions of themselves. And I thought it was just important to mention that as well. So Ed lists 10 tested principles that he believes can actually help leaders navigate their business through whatever comes next year. So let's have a look at these in detail. So the first is, don't spend money needlessly. If there isn't a clear return on investment, then conserve your cash and wait until there is. Make your cash work for you through proper treasury management practices. The second point is, trim the fat from your business model. Over time, all businesses start to experience cost bloat, especially after a prolonged period of success. Strive to get lean and mean in your day-to-day business activities. The third point here is, assess and upgrade the talent of your key positions. Never miss an opportunity to top grade, but make sure there is a cultural fit. The fourth point here is, focus on your A players like a laser beam. Keep them in the communication loop, give them the additional responsibilities and training, and then set them loose in your organization. The fifth point here is look for sacred cows and get rid of them. For instance, long-term client relationships that are no longer serving you well, product lines that are popular but marginally profitable, employees have stayed on long past their usefulness. Point 6 here is, evaluate all of your core processes and make them as smooth and easy to navigate as possible. Don't become hard to do business with externally or internally. And a really, really important point there. The seventh point is, create an employee morale committee. Regardless of the position, select 7 to 10 of your top staff employees and use them as a sounding board on any workplace issues. Point 8 is, continue to assess and refine your business development and sales processes and investments. Invest in what's working and eliminate what's not. Look for training opportunities and experiment with new initiatives using pilot projects. Point 9 is, stress the business from outside in and not inside out. Another really important point. Rather strain organizational capacity with too much work than burden the organization with too much capacity that is very expensive and underutilized. And the last point here is invest in your own leadership development and in your key people as well. You're only as good as what you know and implement, and you should never stop learning. Simple and clear, succinct principles to apply, Kevin. And those are the key takeaway points for today's discussion.
Craig, I absolutely love that. Invest in your own leadership and development and in your key, in your people as well. Like, I think we often forget that and I find that South Africans do it quite readily. Is they have this training and development team, and they do that kind of regular approach to upskilling people. But is it really upskilling, and is it really making a difference to your bottom line?
Yep.
And also, that cash cow, what did you call it? Your sacred cows, your sacred cows.
Yes.
Yeah. It's just, if something, from a coaching perspective, it's always like, the strategy is it working? And if the answer is no, then stop doing it.
Yes.
That's all there is to it.
As simple as that. Quite right.
It doesn't need to be like sort of unpacked, or is it working? No, it's not. Okay, then stop it.
But to that last point, I think the really important thing for me there is, you're only as good as what you know and implement, and therefore never stop learning.
Absolutely, Craig. I love that. Never ever stop learning. That's a good point. I live by that. So thank you for that, guys. If you want to catch the Lunchtime series, we're chatting every Wednesday and Thursday, and Craig and I are always live at 12 o'clock on ebizradio.com. And go and check out the Lunchtime series on YouTube, and we'd love your support and like, follow, and share. Craig, thank you so much for joining me, and I'll chat to you next week.
Yeah, look forward to that, Kevin. Have a good week ahead.
Cheers for
Thanks.
now. Bye.